And we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela, and I have got questions for you. What opens with Shanice and Jeffy vibing, and what closes with Ryan and Jackie vibing? If you guess Married at First Sight, Season 6, Episode 8, Love Languages, you're correct. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Hey, thanks for the like. I know it's dark, but I just got finished. I'm feeling better, so we gonna move with it. Thanks so much for clicking on the video and sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. I'm Angela, and the channel is Be Fabulous You. Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go before we lose this light. Hey, Rowdy Chica 59. So we got Shanice and Jeffy, and they are vibing. They are being really playful and flirty, and they're talking about sex. 6 times they had sex. They talking about sex, and she's showing him some lingerie she got, and he's saying that she's attractive to he's attracted to her anyway. Whether she got on a winter coat or lingerie, he gonna try to take it off of her. So that's why he's like, because she's like, I know you hate lingerie. He like, I don't hate lingerie. All of that ain't necessary. So I don't know, somewhere I heard he wasn't attracted to her, but anyway, so it's all good. He's like, you gonna put on something? And she's like, no, but this is my fantasy. And these people got some boring fantasies. She's like, my fantasy is for my husband to pick me up with 3 dozen roses and for us to go out on a date. And then whatever happens naturally. I'm like, oh no. I mean, well, maybe this is just like the PG version of the fantasy. Cause I'm like, that just sounds like a date. But anyway, so she shares her fantasy, and then I say it's more like a wish. Okay, so anyway, and then we see Ryan bringing Jackie to the lake where he grew up, where he used to spend a lot of time as a young person, and he's sharing. Hey, hi Angela, I was waiting for this. Trinidad. I don't know what Trinidadians say, but hey Trini. Sorry it's so late, and then I've been sickly on top of that, so so he's sharing as per the expert's advice how he likes to be loved, and he says he works a lot and he likes to be out of doors and active with friends. So that's cool if y'all are into the same thing. And it's been 3 weeks that they've been married, so they still barely know each other. He says that he can see himself building a log cabin out here on the lake by the river or whatever. And Jackie is like, in her interview, like he already got 18 jobs. So now he's talking about adding the building of a vacation home to that. You know, I want to have quality time with my husband. And she does talk to him about it. You know, I want to have quality time with you. You know, you got these jobs. You're not always here. You know, sometimes you sleep out. I mean, it's just, and Jackie is talking to her friend. She might share that with him later, but she's talking to her friend while Ryan is in the water with his friend, or maybe her friend, I don't know, but the guys are over there and the ladies are over here. And she says, well, you know, we've been living together for a week, but it seems like a lot longer. And I'm like, oh no, is that a bad sign? Because, you know, time flies when you're having fun, but when you're not having fun, it just crawls along. Okay, so she says it's a big adjustment. He's been at the firehouse. She's been missing him. She wants him to come home, but he is very, very busy. And Jackie says in the interview that he works the full-time day job as in construction, and then he has 2 24-hour shifts at the firehouse. And he's a big gamer. We didn't know that, so I guess when he ain't working, he likes to play video games. And he's a passionate. Going to joke about. Because I don't even know if you could hear me, so I guess I could. You know what's going on with the connection. My theory was that if somebody else was using the Wi-Fi, it would interrupt it, but nobody else is here but me. So I really, really, really don't know what's going on. Just wait 1 minute, wait 2 minutes. Okay, so you know, he's also a big gamer, so when he's passionate about paintball. So he has some activities and things he likes to do that are not necessarily their things. we see the Married at First Sight couple, like a couple meetup, and there I'm going bowling. Shanice is checking in with Molly. You say you're going slow. Is it because, you know, you like it like that, or because, you know, what's going on? And Molly's like, yeah, but I feel bad. And Shanice is like, well, you got to get rid of all those bad feelings, you know, because it's not going, you know, you just got to be who you are, I guess. You got to get rid of the feeling bad part. Well, is he supportive of you? And Molly is like, he's supportive, but, and Shanice is like, but frustrated, right? And Molly is like, in the interview, I don't have a timeline, you know, for when I want to have sex, just when I feel comfortable. And I just want to remain open. And again, you know, I guess some people feel like, well, you're married and it's been, you know, a month, but I feel like different people are different. So a month for one person might be like a day for somebody else. You know, different people are different, and then different situations can stimulate different things. I think that the whole pressure of being married is, you know, not contributing to Molly feeling loosey-goosey. I think it's contributing to her feeling tight and like stressed out. And so she's not relaxing with him right now, because she's trying to process a lot that's going on. So then, is it just, oh, and then I realized all of a sudden, no, it's just two couples. It's not a three couple thing. Shanice is like, you know, really up and excited, and Molly is kind of nervous and pensive because Shanice is like, oh, it's the greatest. I love my husband. We're having sex. Our life is wonderful, you know, and Molly is like, you know. And then Molly is explaining that she heard through her sister that John really likes redheads, and you do that hair thing part-time. And I'm like, I thought that Shanice was a hairstylist full-time, but we just let that slide because I'm like, I don't really know. But, you know, she asked if she can, basically they go through this thing, and so Shanice is going to make Molly a red-headed wig. And of course, Shanice is really, really excited. Molly is trying to show that she can give 100%, or at least more than she's been given, and show him that she's, you know, trying to make it work. Okay, so then we see Molly and John there at home. We see a voiceover of, hear a voiceover of one of the women counselors. She's like, in order for a marriage to last, we have to recognize that the partner's needs and be selfless enough to give it to them. And I was like, well, I totally disagree with that, because I think, you know, I think that there is an element of selflessness involved with a marriage where you try to, you know, kind of, we work together and we're a partnership and we build for the couple. But I also kind of feel like you come into the marriage, it's so important for you to be able to make yourself happy, and for him or her, your partner, be able to make themselves happy, for you all to come as whole people and not be expecting somebody else to make you whole or happy. It's too dark for me to be philosophical, like, you know, going into all of that, especially because, you know, I've been married twice, but, you know, I don't know. I might not be the best expert. So, but I think I've had like healthy relationships, but I don't know. Okay. So I disagree with the expert. That's how I feel, because that's how I feel. And then we see Molly and John in the bed, and they're chatting and laughing. So we know they have great chemistry in terms of personalities, or they're both personable enough to like fake the funk real good. Then we see Jeffy and Shanice, and she's a firefighter stripper, with a pole set up in the kitchen and stacks of money and candles as Jeffy walks in the door. And Jeffy is like, he doesn't need this to get going. She's pretty, but he would be he says she's pretty bad as a stripper. I thought she was pretty good, but then I've never been to a strip club, so I don't really have a frame of reference. But I was impressed. I was like, that's, you know, he was throwing dollars. He was having a good time. They were laughing and really enjoying each other's company. It didn't seem extra sexy, except for when she was sitting on his lap afterwards, or at some point, he said that he would be concerned if she was a good stripper. That concerned me, because if she was a good stripper, what would your concern be? That she's a good stripper? I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with her character or her qualifications as a wife, Mr. Jeffy. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. You won't even hear it. But anyway, Shanice is like, you know, it's been 5 years since she had the class, but hubby is so shy, so she's doing her part to connect. She's really, that woman, I was gonna say that girl, but that woman, that young woman is so sweet. And so he feels that she's really sweet. He really appreciates that he's tried. He says that's the sweetest thing that anyone has done for him, I think. Or he definitely says that he's learning that his wife would do anything to make him happy. And, you know, that's you know, it's nice for him to realize that. I'm really curious, because that's like kind of, it can be an intimidating feeling when you realize that you have, you know, somebody's like, you know, heart and energy, you know, connected to you like that. You know, we got to be real grown and responsible with how we handle that. So I'm just really sending out prayers to Mr. Jeffy that he can handle that with the seriousness, you know, that is, because that's kind of serious. So she, and I believe that she would do anything to make him happy at this point. And Shanice is like on his lap, and she's like, he's definitely enjoying himself. And I'm like, and she's in a position to know. I mean, the rest of us can't know, but she can. Okay, so we see Ryan and Jackie in bed, and Jackie is like, he's home tonight, and I've not seen him. You know, we have to figure out how to coordinate our schedules to connect. And Jackie is like, hey, you know, I'm really struggling. She tells him, you know, I'm really struggling with how busy you are. And, you know, he's like, well, this is my lifestyle. This is what I've chose. I've been doing it for the last 8 to 10 years. You know, we both have to adjust. And I'm kind of like, he needs to process that some more, because he's been living as a single man, you know. So, you know, I don't want you to change who you are, but I do want you to be able to hear your wife. So, you know, we got our fingers crossed for you, sir. And I think she was right to share it with him. And, you know, he's like, I have a good work ethic and nobody is going to give me anything. So I have to go out here and get this what? As Auntie Rock says, or Sister Rock's, we about the same age. I don't know why I'm calling her Auntie. Okay, but then Jackie is like, well, I think of marriage as spending time together and enjoying each other's company. And Ryan is like, well, you know, we're going to work it out. And he just kind of smiles. And I'm like, how are you going to work it out? Like, I don't want you dismissing the conversation. What's going on? And then Ryan says in his, you know, conversation that he wants her to love me and to know me, and I want her to love me for who I am, but I also want for her and me to be head over heels passionately in love, and everything else will fall into place. That was a really strong statement of like clear intentions. Like that's a strong statement, I thought. Then we see Jackie. She says, well, it's too early in the marriage to push, but I do hope that he heard me and is willing to make some adjustment. So then we have John. He's shaving. He made dinner for Molly. And then in the voiceover, they say, the counselor says, sometimes all it takes to, I'm talking oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know what. Oh, okay. So, John shaving. The counselor says on the on the voiceover, sometimes all it takes to invite intimacy is for one to put in the effort and show it. So John is like, you know, we skipped the courtship phase, so you know, I'm generating some romance. She likes me in a suit, so here I am in a suit, and it's a surprise. She's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this. He's cooked dinner. He's sitting there in a suit. He's drinking wine. He got everything laid out. And she's like, you know, I thought you would be on the couch watching sports. And I was kind of like, now he didn't seem to be offended by that, but it kind of made me concerned. Like, is that what a guan? Okay. So she thinks he looks sharp. The room looks great. The lighting looks great. The food looks great. It's a total fantasy. Here's another one of these people with these boring fantasies. It's a total fantasy of what I like to come home to. Okay. And he makes me feel wanted. He's so thoughtful. I don't care how it tastes, you know, because he's like, I'm not a cook. She's like, I know you're not a cook, but I just really, really, really appreciate the effort. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. So, the evening went off without a hitch, says John. She was very into it. She notices that he shaved, and it would, she says it would only stay shaved for like 5 minutes or 15 minutes. And I was kind of like, huh? Is that I was confused by that. Okay, so are you into? She asked him. So are you into the whole redhead thing? And John is like, oh my gosh, I'm totally into it. And Molly is like, what if I was some random character? And then she's like, well, I'll see what I can do. And then after dinner, Molly, I didn't know it was happening the same night, but Molly surprises or rewards John with her in the red wig, and John is cracking up at Rebecca. She's kind of all over him. John in his interview says Rebecca is Molly's better half. Ha ha ha. I mean alter ego. So I was kind of like, and he asked her about her ultimate fantasy, and Molly is like, this, dinner, candles, man in a suit. And John is like, mine is, and he snatches her up and he carries her into the bedroom. Then we see Jeffy, he's standing on the street with 3 dozen roses before a surprise date, and Shanice is really, 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 really happy. And they are going skating. She's jumping up and down, and Jeffy is like, all right, relax. Shanice in the interview is like, she's been saying since day one that I love skating, and she's glad that he's been listening. And I'm glad that he's been listening too, because I was like, skating, but that's good. That's her thing. Okay, we thumbs up, sir. And they go skating, and Shanice appreciates Jeffy's thoughtfulness, and Jeffy wants more in the future, just hanging out and having fun and doing things, on any special day. Like, on any given day. Like, if we both free, hey, let's get up and, go skating. Let's get up and go to the bookstore, to the movies, whatever, to the park. So John had mentioned that, but when... Oh, okay. So I guess that's that. Okay, so then we're back to John and Molly. John had mentioned that he's never been turned down when he was in a suit. So he figured he was about to get, they were about to get busy. He in his suit, he done made dinner, she got on the wig, it's a go. But meanwhile, homegirl, John had mentioned, okay, but when they get into the room, he says that she yawns. She says, let's put on our PJs. And then she basically goes into the regular routine. So John is like, okay, enough is enough. I got to talk to her, and he's basically like, and I'm kind of like, this is not really the time. I think he's frustrated and he's letting his frustration get the best of him. But I'm like, if she was possibly feeling a little loosey-goosey and you might have, kind of held her hand, y'all, you might have been able to work up to something, but this is not the time. I don't think it's the time. And Molly is like, hey, I like you as a person and I'm just not physically attracted to you right now, but we still got a few more weeks before the end of the experiment. And John is like, well, you're in the driver's seat. So if you're not happy, you're driving your own happiness, and you don't like you because we're the same. You said we're the same, so if you don't like me, then you don't like you. And I feel like I'm being strung along and led on. And what if I stand around and look around in 4 to 8 weeks and then I look like a fool? And I'm like, now that's another thing that's gonna get them, because the most foolish thing to me, if something is foolish, getting married at first sight is foolish. Now, I'm not saying that it's foolish, but I think that is pretty risky. Now that you done took that big jump, you might as well just ride the process out. Y'all at week 4 or 5. I mean, you look, if to some people, you look stupid already. So, I don't think it's anything. And Molly is like, well, I think he's wrong. We should follow it through to at least the end of the relationship. And until at least the end of the experiment, instead of being like, well, we're 4 weeks in and I'm not attracted, so bye, it's over. Ride it out. You done jumped on the ride. What, you gonna get off halfway through? And then John is like, this is slower than a normal relationship. A normal relationship, 4 weeks in, you wouldn't know the person as well as you know me. You wouldn't have spent as much time as you spent with me. So if you don't like me, then you don't like me. You're not gonna like me more. And she's like, I could get more attracted to you, not at this moment when you like all up on me, but he feels that we should be further along. He's frustrated, he's upset. John in the interview is like, well, she told me that she had a threesome with some random guy and her friend in college. And then he brings it up to her in the room and she looks quickly at the camera. So I know that she is like, oh, she did not want that to be public knowledge. That's an embarrassment to her. I'm feeling away for her. And she's feeling away too. And she says, what? Like giving him an opportunity to try to clean the stuff up or not embarrass her on camera. And then he's like, you know, he basically digs in and says again, you know, you had a threesome, blah, 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 with this guy you didn't know, and you know me, and you don't, you know, so he's like, he's frustrated, he upset, he, you know, he mad because he thought he was about to get, you know, some punani, and that's not happening, especially now. And then she's like, you know, you just went below the belt. The fact that you just went below the belt, I'm done. And John is like, well, I want, and you know, in his interview, he's like, I want to fix this. And I'm like, if you wanted to fix it, this was not really a good strategy, I don't think. And if she was getting a little ooey gooey from the evening, she's dry as dry right about now with your behind. And then Molly is like, I'm done. And then I'm like, you know, so yeah. So then we see Ryan and Jackie and Jeffy, I never even made the connection. And Ryan is carrying her into their apartment, and there are flowers on the floor and candles, and the bed has like, not flowers, but you know, rose petals. The candle has a heart-shaped rose petals on it, and she's like really excited and like, oh my gosh. And Ryan is like, stay here, be comfortable, I'll be right back. And then in the interview, he's like, you know, he's excited to, listen to this, I was so excited to hear this, he's excited to grow as a person, and he is not afraid to sacrifice anything for his wife. I just give him 100% on that attitude and that perspective. And then he comes back and he's topless. He's got a tool belt on and a hard hat on. And he tells us that he had asked his wife, what does she find more attractive? Like the fantasy of a firefighter or the fantasy of a carpenter? And she was like, oh, a carpenter. And so he's like, well, luckily I'm both, so I'll just be the carpenter. So he's like, you know, they engage in this like, hey, ma'am, I came to, you know, and then, you know, he's like, well, turn over if you don't have the money. And he's smacking her, and she kind of like smacking her butt. And she like, we all camera. But anyway, it was cute. It's nice to see, you know, because I know she wanted the sexual relationship to continue to grow and develop. So I think that that's like a good sign for that. And then he's, you know, after they tell well, we're closing the door. So, and that's the end of the episode. But you know what I really wanted to know, but like with Jeffy and with Ryan and Jackie, when they close the door, now the camera people are out there. Do they have a key? Do they just let themselves out? Are they standing there on the other side of the door listening to the people have sex? Do the people find it like a little exciting that people are in the apartment and so they go ahead and have sex? Or are they like waiting? I mean, like, I'm just like, how does it logistically work when you're like, you know, in a you know, like on a TV show? I mean, because, you know, different people are into different things. But that's all I got. That was Married at First Sight. Was there anything in particular that I missed, or anything that it's already dark, so we don't need to rush anymore for that? Hey, we're finished with the chat, but welcome in. You have to catch it on the replay. Not the chat, but the recap review, unless there's anything that anybody wants to, you know, talk about. Hey, Mary Jane, welcome in, girl. So if there's anything that anybody want to talk about in terms of, you know, agreeing or disagreeing. And I just feel like, I don't think it was good. Thank you, Trini. I just think that Ad Savari, I don't know. I'm trying to see how to pronounce your name, maybe. But I just think that, you know, with these reality shows, we see so little. Thank you, Rowdy Chica. Excellent. Yay. I think we see so little. Depending on how it's edited, they might do a good job of capturing the essence of the situation. But there's so little. We just know so little about what's going on with these people. So it's hard to really, you know, judge and evaluate. But I enjoyed the episode. I'm glad that 2 of the 3 couples seem to be happy. I could personally really relate to Molly, because I think that she's probably like a cerebral person like I am. And if you're cerebral, it's kind of like, sometimes it's hard to get out of your head and just, you know, so in college, she was probably just like, I'm going to do something crazy. Let's have a threesome. That's probably not her stilo. You know, like, she's probably not that girl that's just going to have sex, or that woman that's going to, you know, have sex real quick with just random people. I don't know. But I know I felt like I could relate, you know, because like when he was going all in, I was like, no, sir, back up. No, sir. If I was even thinking about getting with your behind, it's a wrap. So that's it. So does it come on Tuesday? Is that what happened? I gotta figure it out. But that's what I got today or tonight. It's the best night ever. It's the best day ever. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Always support a real sister no matter what. Be fabulous you. We support you. I support you too. I love you. So be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace. Peace out. Oops, there it is.